Welcome to CSS Development with CSS3. My name is Zachary Kingston and I'm excited to be your instructor. Cascading style sheets, generally just abbreviated to CSS, are a web development language which allow us to describe the appearance of web pages. Using CSS, we can create web pages which are more aesthetically pleasing, more user-friendly, and even more intuitive than we could otherwise. Before we jump right into the nitty-gritty of CSS code, I'd like to talk to you a little bit conceptually about CSS's place in modern web development. I should also mention that in order to get the most out of this course, you should be comfortable with HTML code. Now, a fairly standard web development model would look something like this. The backbone of our page is written in HTML. And then where we need to add power and functionality, we can add client or server-side programming. And this is a powerful duo that lets us do a lot of things. But where there's kind of a hole that we're of course going to fill with CSS is form. What does our web page look like? How does it feel for the user to interact with it? If HTML and the client or server-side programming are the engine and the wheels of our web page, CSS is the body and the paint job. Let me give you an example. You probably recognize this web page. It's google.com, the homepage of the internet's most successful search engine. I think it's a really good example because this web page is all of the things I mentioned at the beginning of this video. It's elegant, and most importantly, it's intuitive and accessible. I go to Google because I want to search the web, and the search bar is right there in the middle of the page. I could never miss it. For our purposes, I'd like to show you what google.com looks like if we remove the CSS from this page. And that's what I've just done. This is google.com as raw HTML, unstyled. I think it's important to point out that on some technical level, this page has not lost any of its functionality. The hyperlinks and text boxes and buttons, though they've moved around, are still there and they're still functional. But at the same time, I'm sure you would agree with me that something very important to the structure of this page was lost when we disabled the CSS. One of the unique challenges of web development is that the end user, the person visiting our website, could be doing so via a number of different browsers. They could even be browsing from a mobile device. And for the most part, we'd like them all to have the same experience. We'd like our website to look the same when presented by any browser. Fortunately for us, at least in this instance, we have an ally in the form of W3C, or the World Wide Web Consortium. These are the folks whose job it is to decide how CSS, HTML, and similar web technologies work. What they do is they publish recommendations, which are specifications that all major web browsers must adhere to if they would like to remain relevant and highly used. This is a really exciting time to be learning CSS because CSS2, which has been around for over a decade, is actually in the process of being phased out for a newer version, CSS3. This isn't going to happen all at one specific moment in time. They're using a module development style where they introduce pieces of CSS3 to the W3 recommendations one at a time. So as of right now, CSS3 color namespaces and selectors are on the official lists of recommendations. But the really neat thing is that browsers implement these modules generally before they're officially recommended by W3C. So that means if we're smart about it, and if we use a couple of tricks, which I'm going to show you, we can access what is essentially the future of web development technology today. I hope you're as excited about learning CSS as I am to teach it. It's a really fun technology to learn because just by its very nature, every new skill you develop in CSS has immediate visual rewards. And that's something that's always motivated and excited me when I was learning something new.